Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, as promised, we've got a kind of smaller podcast episode to do here. We're going to try keep it brief as possible. We'll just be going over all of the different things that are going on, the vulnerabilities, the attack, and different stuff like that. So, I've actually got Strafe Cole on. So, let's flick over to the podcast view and bring the main man himself in. Strafe Dog, what is going on? Talk to us.
Hey, server maintenance, I would say. Is going on.
What, like when you be watching a TV when you're younger and it's like goes to technical difficulties of the elevator music?
It's like watching the terminal of the server, checking the disk space usage, checking the memory usage. Annoyingly stupid work, but necessary.
Yeah, definitely necessary. So I've actually got that transaction up that's on ping.pub, which is actually a new site. I didn't know this existed. It's pretty good. It's got a lot of stuff in there. So I'll leave a link to this in the description for you folks. But failure is not fraud. Lunar Classic was attacked on its infrastructure level, accelerating the depeg. I mean, there's something to that memo. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something to that memo.
It seems either someone wants to prove a point that the DPEG was not fraud, but was caused mainly by an attack, or it's someone that just wants to make it look like like that. I don't know. We
What, like
we
a
would need
psyop?
to know. What do you mean?
A psyop, so like
Yeah.
someone using the information, the leverage to sort of raise awareness.
Maybe we don't know because no one knows who's behind it.
No, they don't. Literally, it's a big myth, but it's not just us who got hit. In fact, Luna got hit harder, didn't they?
Oh yes, so we had some chains that got attacked by similar, uh, by similar means. It's quite good that we kept running. I think we had no chain halt.
Yeah, it was pretty fortunate. No chain halt, no severe tombstoning or anything like that, and the slashing is quite moderate, isn't it? 0.01%.
Yes, if you have a downtime of more than I think 16 hours, then you get slashed, and your delegates get slashed 0.01%. So that's quite minor.
So, what do you feel like is the root cause of the validators going down from this attack? What was causing it?
Yeah, the attack somehow focused on two things. As far as I'm aware, they focused on memory usage and space usage. So I don't know if it applies to every validator, but the requirements that are mentioned in the docs for running a validator on Terra is 32 gigabytes of RAM. And during this phase, that was not enough. So I think many with running 32 gigabytes, they were crashing and were offline afterwards. But also some disk space was filled up with logging and also with transaction contents. So that might also be a cause. I don't know how many, but I think we had 3 or 4 attack phases, and the validator set improved from each one. So I think during the first phase we had 20% voting power down. And during the last phase, we only had, I think, 2% voting power down. So the set got more resilient over time, it seems.
in theory, this should be a good learning curve for a lot of people who
Oh
were
yeah.
running the 32 gigabyte systems, because this should now give them the push to that 64 gigabyte system, and them sort of think to themselves, well, I should really run a better bit of infrastructure, so to speak. Because if we are all running on 64, it wouldn't have been that much of an issue, would it?
I guess it wouldn't have, but I think the whole validator set learned a bit and still researching on ways to improve the configuration and maybe apply future code fixes to improve the overall resilience. And I think, given that it was stressful and it was annoying as hell, it still, had some positive outcome, I think.
Yeah, I was saying that in I think my last video that I did on Monday evening. I was saying that we can learn a lot from this. This is not a issue. In fact, having this happen now early on, and sort of seeing that vulnerabilities there, it gives us the opportunity to more or less bolster the system, bolster that active set, and maybe it will shuffle a load of validators out and bring in new ones. You just don't know. But overall, there's not really many negatives to this. It's not like, well, apart from those who obviously got slashed and are talking about paying their delegates back, of course, but that falls on them. But overall, I mean, we weren't affected. We run good infrastructure. A lot of people run good infrastructure as well, but the blocks have been just crazy. I've never seen that many validators missing blocks at the same time since when the crash happened. I remember monitoring a site. I can't remember what it was. I think it was something Dash, funnily enough. I think it was like Terra Dash or something like that. And I was watching all of these validators going down. Then I was watching them being jailed one by one. And then I was watching loads of these validators receiving lots of coins, and that was all to do with them swaying the vote and stuff like that. Really interesting time. But I mean, Strafe, how much did it cost them to perform this attack, do you think? Have you got like a ballpark figure?
Oh no, I don't. I think they have spent a few 100,000 LUNC, but I don't know how much it was exactly. I have not had time to query all the transactions and check the gas fee spent on it.
It's not a lot, that's for sure.
No, it's not that much, but yes, I think it wouldn't have been stopped earlier with higher cost.
No, definitely not.
We have seen it on other chains happening who have higher gas fees, so
So
we would.
there
Yeah.
was a upgrade. I have to go to proposals. Let's go to rejected. Was it in rejected or was it approved? No, it was approved. So let's go to passed. Something passed, and it up. I'm sure it upped the contract size limit.
Yeah, from 600 kilobytes to 820
Is
kilobytes.
that not part of the problem here?
No,
Okay,
that's totally fine because the block size limit is currently at 5 megabytes, so it doesn't really matter if the contract size is 600, 800, 2000, or whatever. But by reducing, I think there's a proposal up to reduce the maximum block size to 2 megabytes. So that still would not affect contracts because they are way lower in maximum size.
good. And so I've got the current proposals up at the moment. We'll move forward onto these, seeing as in we're discussing them. Let's do parameter change 12094, which is proposal to decrease the max block size. Do we know if this is coming from Genuine Labs yet? I still yet to find any confirmation, still yet to get a DM my side.
From my knowledge, they put it up, yes,
Good.
but I have not direct verification from them, but I was told they did it.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have gotten a tweet. I checked back just before we started this, and there was still no tweet, no Commonwealth or anything. which would have been nice. It's quite it's a parameter change at the end of the day. You can't just throw these things out there and expect us all to just ape into it. But hey, will this solve the problem?
It will mitigate it.
Mitigate
But
it.
it will not fully solve it. I think they are currently discussing routes and propose something that would further reduce the issue.
Good, folks. Sorry, if you can hear me gulping, I'm really sorry. It's early here in the morning. I'm drinking a Costa coffee, midweek hump day, and all of that. So hopefully this mitigates it, Strafe. But obviously, more work needs to go into this. More investigations need to go into this.
Yes.
I was recording a video about an hour ago, and I was saying in that video about possibly bringing Vin Nagayan back on a retainer where he's not a developer, he doesn't develop, he doesn't have the political pressure of everything, but instead he just acts as a maintainer for the repository, as he was kind of doing. So when these sorts of things happen, we've got someone there on standby at all times.
What do you think he would do? He would do then? So he would merge or review, or what would his responsibilities be?
Yeah, pretty much as basic as what you've just mentioned there. Keep it light, offer him a good retainer. The chain's got plenty of funds. We've just breached 5 billion LUNC. I mean, the chain's never seen that much money in the community pool, I don't think. But we need someone, and I'll be the guy to say it, like I've said it in the video. We need someone who's not part of a development team, if that makes sense. Like, you need someone to be on neutral ground who's behind the repository. We've seen many times before the centralization of power in all sorts of different things. I personally just think it's a good idea considering what's just happened, and having people hands on deck, his knowledge, let alone having someone there to be able to just take, a developer's work and just go, all right, boom, I'm simply going to focus on this. This is my job. It would make the whole process easier. And honestly, we need to not keep losing people, if that makes sense. He left because of a governance-based decision, which some of us voted yes, some of us voted no. It's not a final decision, in my opinion. But what do you think?
Well, I think it makes sense to have him, be it only to benefit from the knowledge, and of course, if he would be on standby and kind of owning or organizing the repository. Yeah, but I think there is no negatives about that. Although I think there should probably be multiple maintainers, so he's not the only one responsible. But
Yeah,
I don't know if
so
he
I'm
would be interested in team leading, kind of, because that would be a kind of oversight role for a developers team. I don't
yeah,
know.
I personally think the whole idea of walking before you can run, I think if you try to get like 2-3 people into that position in one go, like one blast, you're pushing the pieces on the board too far. I think this needs to be done step by step, carefully and considerately. I think you start with one, and then I mentioned in the video, and then you could possibly branch out to more as more development teams come on and there's more funding and stuff like that. But we're walking into this halving event with a lot of funding, and we do need to find a way to make that funding count moving forward.
Yeah. Oh. Um, well, I think currently maybe Vin even is still on the repository, because we have had absolutely no governance votings about new maintenance and such things. So I would guess he still is on there. The question more is if he would be willing to get some kind of payment for taking an official role of reviewing and organizing.
So it was suggested by the narrative after they had not been paid and they were trying to fill that position, I think, with somebody, which is always really interesting. But I think that's food for thought. I've spoken about it in my previous video today, and hopefully people pick up on that and somebody gets it in front of Vin and Vin kind of thinks it over. And, you know, it's getting to a point where we don't want to walk into this halving event any further losing all of these people. If they're willing to come back, we should definitely get them. So Strafe, let's talk about the rock and the hard place right now. 10x gas fees. It's not enough, is it? We should just 50x it. No. 100x, 100x.
So I think you have to keep in mind, if you argue putting a 10x because it would mitigate an attack, it is not really the case. You can imagine that Luna, for example, has higher gas fees, and it didn't stop anybody from doing the same over there. So it would just lead to increased income of staking, and would not, in my opinion, would not do anything really positive, especially for those people interacting with dApps or even maintaining dApps. So I would be, of course, be affected myself. So for me, the negatives outweigh the positives by far.
There are no positives with this. The only people who would think this is positive are the greedy validators that are going to vote yes on it for the simple fact that they know they get a portion of those gas fees.
No, they get a lot of those gas fees.
I know. I was trying to like dull it down and not put too much on the community, but this is a real issue because it's not gonna do anything. Like Strafe saying, it's not changed anything on Luna, and it's not gonna change anything here.
I mean, you can a bit do the maths. I think I haven't done this before, so I might have I might make a mistake now in my mind. But imagine that around 90 to 95% currently come from the Oracle. So that means if you 10x the gas fees, that would probably increase rewards by, let me think, 5% times 10, so might be 20 to 50%.
Yeah, it's
And that's not necessary right now. Of course, it would increase the community pool income by the same amount, but we still have quite a big APR compared to other chains from the Oracle pool, and sacrificing cheap gas just for increasing that by a good amount is, I think it is not that much that it helps the lower validators that run at a loss, but it is so much that it benefits the upper validators greatly. And so
very, very well put.
no.
Very well put. The effects this has on the chain as a whole. Every project that's launched on chain, every meme token, every CW20 token, every NFT project, every module, it'll have a huge effect. A huge effect. Auto compounding. I don't know about you, Strafe, but I won't.
Oh, that's a good point. The auto compounding, I didn't even think about that, because it would cost 10 times.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't be, we have to fill those coffers up each month. That you'll finish the auto compounding system. It'll be pointless.
The validator pays the auto compound gas fees. So for every delegator. So the delegator gets 100% of the restake and doesn't pay gas for it. So yes, a 10x on that would make me personally at least stop using that, because that's
We'd have to alter the NFT projects currently from daily. Everything would have to go to monthly. Everything, we'd have to
yeah, I
alter
think
everything.
yes, because it makes no sense doing such. Yeah, so in other words, you would have to mitigate a lot to try to find ways to decrease the used gas by 10 times.
Interstellar Lounge, no projects on chain. Jesus is Lord, no projects on chain. Validaros, no projects on chain. BI Studio, no projects on chain. You know, it's always very interesting to see. And the scariest part about this is, for the folks that are listening, is this could pass. Like, this genuinely could pass because it appeals to the inner greed of these validators, right? And the worst part is, but even though people like the Nakamoto coefficient went up to 5, it went up to 5 because one guy undelegated his self stake. The voting power remains the same. And it's scary. And I think, Strafe, and you know, you might think differently, but I think this proposal is going to show just how badly controlled the chain is by those greedy validators. If this passes, it's going to be chaos for us. Chaos.
Yeah, it makes many things more difficult, because let's be straightforward with that. Things that were developed were also developed with the gas fees in mind, and we raised the gas fees 5x, I think, 1 year ago, around 1 year ago. And I remember that this, for a short period of time, caused some chaos, because all the DApps and third-party wallets had to adopt to the new gas. So there were some good amount of failed transactions and issues. And also projects, I can only speak for myself, but I had to find ways to greatly improve gas usage of what I am doing to achieve the same levels of payments I had to make earlier, before that 5x and another 10x. I don't think I can compensate that with countermeasures dealing with my contracts. I probably would have to overthink quite a bit of things, and like stopping Autocompound offering myself, I think, is one of the necessary things, because it makes no sense anymore in with even higher payments.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, but thinking outside the bubble of on-chain, you 10x the gas fees on-chain, it passes. The CXs don't have to abide by that. They only have to abide by it on withdrawals and deposits, right? Because it's customary. They don't have a choice in deposits and withdrawals, right?
Gas fees is a very special thing, because it is not a parameter on chain. It is set on the various endpoints and nodes. So let's, for example, say you have 100 validators and 50 of them change the gas to 10x and the other 50 don't. If now the endpoints do not change the gas and keep it low, that would mean that the validators that raised the gas would get rare to no further blocks they proposed, and no transactions in their blocks, because the gas works just as a gatekeeper when you propose a block. So for example, you say, with my validator, I only take a transaction with 100 LUNC in. So someone comes and sends it with 50 LUNC, and you are the block proposer, then it will not get into that block. But if a validator is the block proposer that accepts those lower fees, then it gets in. So gas fees only work if all validators coordinate it and the endpoints and the FCDs make the changes accordingly. Otherwise, it's always a bit of chaos. And if too many decide to not adopt it, then it could mean that it affects those that did negatively.
Basically,
Complicated.
this is like this affects everything. There's like things I can't even think of right now that I'll probably be doing something midday today and think to myself, it's going to affect that as well. But off the bat, it's going to, like, we're actual project owners. Strafe has a NFT project. I've got an NFT project. I'm launching my game on chain. I'm launching my test build soon. We get heavily affected by these things. So it's not just like we're whinging for the sake of whinging, and like we're coming here with real valid points. And like, this is rushed. It's one of two things in my eyes. He's panicked and rushed, or he knows that by 10xing the gas fees and offering it during a time like this where it's got an angle, it's got like a bit of a narrative to it. Well, if we up the fees, it's going to stop the network spam attacks.
Second.
What do you think?
Second option. I think it's a very, very good point in time to get such a thing through, just because people are scared of such kind of attacks and would more likely take anything that is, it is meant to mitigate it.
It was very interesting to see the reaction of like different validators and them going down and stuff like that, and some of the bigger validators as well. And it's like, interesting. I must say, I do not agree with 10x in the gas fees at this time. It's really, really a bad idea, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either.
No. So, what's your prediction? Do you think this is going to pass or fail?
Ooh, I'm confident it fails.
Ooh, he's confident it fails. I'm I'm not worried, but I'm worried about the greedy validators. That's what worries me the most.
Yeah, but as they always say, it's only a text proposal.
Honestly, if someone can get a proposal up, right, and is willing to lose that 5 million LUNC deposit, and you can get a proposal up for no double noding and it passes as a text proposal, that thing is as solid as law at that point, considering how the paid per job, which is a make-believe system at this point, is still being held to account. People still think it's a module. They think it works. They think it's got relatives. They even think it's got kids at this point. Netflix subscription, it's all very interesting stuff. So do you think there's more to come from this attack? I think that's what a lot of people are thinking. Was that the first? Well, that was 4 waves. Do you think there's more to come?
Difficult to say, but we are better prepared now. So
Yes.
it might have less effect, even if it does come. It slows down the block production. It annoys the validators that have to maintain the service, of course, but maybe if we're lucky, the attacker realized that it doesn't have the effect that was intended. Because I guess if someone does a kind of attack like this, then he wants to achieve a chain halt. I guess otherwise, why would you do it? Makes no sense.
Well, it depends what kind of hat you've got on today. If I was to put my tinfoil hat on, look a bit deeper, I would say to myself, there's a possibility that a validator on chain is intentionally doing this so they can apply pressure and get certain things passed. I mean, it wouldn't be in the realm of craziness at this point. Craziest stuff has happened. So I just
Yeah, that's a nice tinfoil tinfoil hat thing.
well, if you think about it, the self stake on chain for like these bigger validators wasn't there. We introduced the DCM as a community. It gets voted through governance as a decentralized decision, and from that point onwards, you slowly see them to pick up on the fact that LUNC is cheap. They can acquire it elsewhere. They can self stake, and they're actually getting a lot of money for it. So what they're investing to get those coins, what they're actually getting back out of the Oracle rewards pool, is pretty substantial. So I think they've picked up on that. That's why Interstellar Lounge suddenly jumped from. I mean, they were almost dead. Like they offered for me to spin up a node with them at one point, and I was like, well, these guys are all croaked out. And then to see them make a huge comeback like that, it's all self stake. You can track a lot of it through the money flow. I've been very hesitant to start the money flow on the sender of the memo transaction. Because I just don't want to get sucked into a wormhole.
Yes, there's so much you could try to analyze on chain, but you would probably need a 48 hours day, or maybe 72, who knows. It's so time consuming.
I believe there's one person somewhere out there in the world who's got like one of those bedrooms, when you like sort of like open the door and there's like just string and pins everywhere. He doesn't even have like a whiteboard or like a cork board. He's just like doing it all on the walls. I always picture there's a guy out there like that, and he's like, it all adds up, man. It all adds up.
Yeah, funny thought. Yes, if I imagine that.
So,
Yeah.
Overall, there's not a great deal for this community to worry about, unless obviously you're staking with a validator that is at risk, but that should be mitigated relatively soon, because a lot of people had been forced into updating to continue to run, so to speak. Am I saying that right, Streff?
I think even if they are not forced to upgrade, they might have options to tweak their configuration, their software configuration, to withstand such pressure. Yes, I think the risk gets lower unless there's a totally different attack vector used, which I don't know of. But I think the set is not that badly prepared now. But we will only see when it happens again.
Yeah, that's it. Only time will tell in these circumstances. So there you go, guys. A pretty broad, compact update in about 35 minutes for you guys, to give you some reassurance, let you know that we're here, let you know that what we think on these gas fees and these other governance votes that are going up. Just tread carefully, everybody. It's going to be a very interesting 7 days watching all of these votes take place. But yeah, Strafe, any closing comments there? Buddy?
No. We're already done. That was the quickest one we ever had, I think.
Yeah, fastest podcast in the West. Busy day today. Got to rack the videos off, and they'll probably enjoy the more compact update for sure. So guys, Strafe's got an NFT project. Check it out. TCG. We'll leave links to it in the description. Go to his Twitter to find more information on that. He has got those available to mint if you are looking to get involved. Links to other stuff in the description, links to the Patreon, the indicator, all of the ins and outs, ups and downs, lefts and rights. More content coming today, XRP content coming. Check out the other video we did in reference to this podcast. And other than that, guys, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. As always, we'll catch you in the next one.